So I started Golden Light to start a company that was half a business, I should say, that is half counseling, based on what I learned as an advanced practice nurse over the past 30 years, and working side by side with people of all ages, races, religions, you name it, I saw it. And I wanted to blend that with some of the esoteric arts. And one of the difficulties in doing that is a lot of people have a negative reaction um, to the word esoteric, to the word metaphysical. When you start talking about decks of cards, people really have some deep-rooted fears around that. So before we get into actually working with the cards, I wanted to talk a little bit about what the difference between oracle cards are and tarot cards. Tarot cards are predictive most of the time. There are some readers that are changing things up a bit and read them in a less predictive style. However, when you go to a tarot card reader, you expect more or less your fortune to be told, or what's going to happen next in love, career, whatever the question is. And oracle cards are very different. Now, the first thing is they're not structured. Tarot cards have a set number and they're structured a certain way. They may have different artists or designs, but they follow the same template. Oracle cards are very unique depending on who's creating them. So it's up to the creator how many cards there are, what they look like, and how they're talked about. I use cards that are done by people that I've studied with and that I know their intention very, very well. And I know that they're authentic, genuine, good people. Oracle cards are not predictive. They don't predict the future. They just help us, you and I, have a discussion about where you've been in life, where you are now, and the possibilities of what can happen in the future, where your life is leading. You always control the future, though, you and your higher power. And, I'm not here to tell you, look at the cards and tell you, oh, I see this happening for you. I want you to get in touch with your intuition, with what's inside of you, what's in your heart. When I put the oracle cards out, we look at the pictures and the symbols, the colors in the cards, and those are archetypes. Those are images that have been in the world since the beginning of time. Each deck has its own language. So I've got 3 different decks here. I've got the animal spirit deck. So of course, when you look at these, they're all beautifully illustrated pictures of animals, most of which we're familiar with. The electric eel threw me because I had never heard of that, but most of them you're familiar with. You see out in nature. Very different from the wisdom of the oracle, which are these images. There's animals, there's eggs, there's hearts, there's fairies, there's all kinds of different images which create a different language. So each deck has a different language. And I get in a place that is sacred to me when I work with these cards. I call on my higher spirit to guide me and to remove me from my ego. That's one of my favorite phrases, so that I can be a clear channel, and that I can understand the message, which ultimately is from God. Allah, higher spirit, great spirit, whatever you want to, whatever your belief is, and whatever you call that. I connect to that divine source, and through the language in the cards is how we have a conversation. And every time I do them, every single time I've worked with somebody with the cards, the person I'm working with has been able to tap into that part in themselves and answer their own questions. And that's what's really cool for me, because it's not about me telling you, it's about you looking at it and going, this is what it's stirring up for me. And I may ask questions, I may guide you, I may say, well, this is what the creator of the deck says about this card. Or, when I've pulled this card in the past for me, this is what happens. So that's very different. It's we're on equal footing. There's not a power differential. We're equally looking to have this conversation, and I help guide you through it. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I always thought oracle cards were similar to tarot, like you said, and they were predictive, and it's more of an open experience, it sounds like, which is what I am excited to see happen.
Absolutely. So before we sat down, I cleared my decks, which is, a personal ritual. Everybody does that a little differently because they do hold energy. And I used these this morning on my own reading, so I wanted to clear all that energy and kind of free them up for you. I've also done my prayer and got myself grounded, and I ask that you get in touch with whatever that is, that divine source that you have. And, some people that say, well, I'm atheist, that's fine too. It could be just the tree outside, or, just something outside yourself that, just even the energy. Do you have any specific question that you want to know about, or do you want me to come up with a question? One of the interesting things about the cards is even if you have a question, it will pick up your dominant energy. So, sometimes the question may seem like, oh, that doesn't make sense to what I'm picking up, but we usually kind of figure that out eventually.
I guess am I heading in the right direction? Am I heading down the right path of where I should be going, kind of thing?
Okay.
That's what I want to know.
And that's a great question. One of the big differences between tarot and oracle is that we can't ask direct questions. And so I'm going to reframe that. I don't get direct answers through the cards. That's not how this works. So I'm going to reframe that question to, what does Betsy need to know about the direction she's headed in right now for her highest good? And I always add that to the end of every question to make sure that we just stay in that good energy. So is Betsy headed in the right direction for her highest good? That's a great card. I always say that about every card. What I'm going to do is we're calling in 3 decks, so we're going to do 3 cards.
Okay.
And we'll talk about them after I pull them all. So the first thing I like to do is kind of just ask you to start talking about what you see in any order, what jumps out at you.
Well, I noticed that there's wings in each of them. There's a moth, there's wings there, there's wings there. This one also has a book, which I love to read. I like that these are both outside. I love to be outdoors.
So the first card you pulled is from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, and it's Why. And in this reading, this position, this first card that I pull, is what I call the anchor card. And so this whole reading could be done, this whole question could be answered just based on this card alone.
Okay.
And these cards inform it and inform each other. And as we talk about these, you'll see how they play with each other and tell a story.
Okay.
So the original question was, what do you need to know about the direction, the path you're taking right now for your highest good? So this is kind of an obvious card for that question. It's not always obvious, but you know, when we talk about our personal why we choose to do something, it's important to go a little deeper than just why you made the decision to make the changes in the business or you know, join partners with a different person for a new business venture. It's important to really go down and think about where that comes from. Like, is there anywhere in your body, like when I start talking about this and this card in particular, is there anywhere in your body that you can feel this in, or that's bothering you right now?
My heart.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't know if it was your armpit.
Yeah, my armpit's a little sore.
What about the wings intrigues you on that? Because the wings are on the book, and you love books.
So the wings to me kind of represent freedom. That's kind of how I'm taking that. And that's what books have always been for me, is a way to escape, a way to go into another world and not have to live in the world that I'm in now. So that's kind of what that represents to me.
So you know, asking you that little piece about the book and the wings brings up a lot of information that we could go into deep dialogue about. You know, we could talk about, well, is this an escape? You know, is this freedom? You know, what, and we don't have to figure that out right now, but this is something I think that would be critical for you to journal about and really look at your why and really, really know in your heart. Your heart doesn't lie. Our hearts never lie. Our minds get in the way. You know, we're in this body and to experience all this on earth, and we want to experience this, and our egos and our thoughts and our thinking, you know, there's an agenda there. And it's, you know, for our highest good, we think sometimes, but deep down in our heart, we have to really get in touch with that, because that's where we really know why. You know, why we marry who we marry, why we have children, why we get up in the morning, why we do what it is we do. That's such a core question, and that is actually the very first card I ever pulled on this deck. This is an action card for a lot of people. Does this bring up anything? You talked about the wings on this card. And this card is from Colette Baron Reed's deck, the map, the enchanted map, and it's the wishing well.
I wonder if she's questioning if she should put the mask on or leave it there.
Where's it going? What's it doing?
Are you picking up anything?
I always pick up stuff.
I know you do.
And that is some of the times when I'm talking, I will just be talking about what we're seeing in the cards and the language that I'm getting from the cards, and just knowing the author's, the creator's intention. But I also channel as well. So when that starts happening, I will tell you when it's me, you know, getting that information. And the cards open me up to that, so it usually happens, but not, you don't have to have that ability to work with the cards. I think everybody should have cards and draw them every day to help them, you know, learn more about their unconscious self. We can create anything we want to. And there's enough for all of us. God has our back. God's always wanting the best for us. All you have to do is put the intention out. I don't wish for things. I don't use that language. Like with the wishing well, how you throw money into it and you make that wish. I make an intention. because our thoughts and our words create a reality.
And my mom always taught me the power of positive thinking.
Absolutely, and science has proven that over and over and over again. So to me, this is the action step that will help you understand and get in touch with your why. So thinking positive, writing down your goals, staying in the essence of how you want to feel. Especially on those days when you get up and you're like, what the heck am I doing? And I don't want to feel like this today. You can change that. You know, how do I want to feel? But that, you know, this middle card is the action card for this story. And so putting yourself in good energy, that's your energy, and having those positive thoughts and affirmations and just feel, it's important to feel and not just think it.
Okay.
Right? We have to feel that and incorporate our thoughts and our feelings. And that's going to help you clarify the why. Tell me about this last card, which is the Moth Spirit.
So moths freak me out, so I think it's interesting that this is what I got. I don't particularly like them, but this is a very pretty one. I love the background color with the swirls in it. I like the little pop of blue.
Most people say to me that, you know, I'm afraid of moths, or I don't like moths, they freak me out. Most people say that. They're very beautiful though. When, you know, if you're able to ever look at them or watch them. And when do you usually see moths?
They're usually flying in my face at nighttime because the light's on and I'm going into my house.
So they're surrendering to the flame. You know, they kind of kamikaze into the flame and they go to the light, right? And this card, it says surrender now. What does that bring up for you?
I should just listen to myself.
You asked that as a question instead of a statement. So you question that about yourself.
Yep.
It's okay. Do you see a theme building here?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. You know, you're very confident in your career and in other aspects of your life, but when we sit down and we talk about cards together, there's a lot of insecurity that comes out. And it's anytime we try to talk about what's really going on deep within you, and a sadness, you know. So I think that this is a really uplifting reading in that, you know, to what you need to know about the path, the direction you're going in, is that, first of all, there's no wrong path you can choose. There isn't. You can't choose the wrong way, okay? What Spirit wants you to know is that you need to know why you're taking the path and not be doing it for somebody else or because of messages you're giving yourself. You know, we have all these programs, I call them, that were, you know, usually put in by our parents or biological family of origin. These tapes that play, you know, you're no good, you're not this, you need a man to survive, you can't go out on your own. You know, it's important to know when it's your heart speaking, you know, versus those thoughts that have been embedded in there for whatever reason. Usually they were put there as kind of a protection, but you don't need them anymore, right? Yep. But you're still listening to them. So
it's hard not to.
It is. That's why you need to take that time when you do your intending or your wishing well card. You know, you take that time to clear the energy of other people's energies, have your own sense of self, and get grounded in your heart chakra and really just feel. And you'll be amazed what comes up, you know, if you do it that way. Does that resonate with you?
Very much so.
Okay.